Hello, welcome. Come on in. Welcome to Royal Black and Elite. I'm Lady Trinette Wilson, your host, and I'm a social historian, author, and lecturer. I'm the founder of the largest etiquette association in the nation, teaching etiquette in urban communities. And today, I also want to give a shout out. We just certified a man. His name is John Rogers. He's in the Fort Worth area and, in fact, made the front page of the local newspaper. We're so proud of him, and so we welcome you, John. And then to all of my royalists, thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your presence means everything to me. And as you know, as we do on this channel, we keep it royal. So I want to take you to England and meet a royal you may have never heard of. Now, most people have heard of Meghan Markle, and Meghan Markle was an actress, and she married Harry. Now, Prince Harry, is the son of the King of England. And so when they got married back in 2018, man, everybody was really excited. But then all of a sudden, all the news started hitting the airways. And I mean, they left royal duty and started giving all these interviews, and things started hitting the fan. They went on Oprah and said all this stuff about the royal family, then came back and said they didn't say what we heard. Then they had an award. They got an award for fighting institutional racism within the royal family. Right at the beginning, she got into it with her sister in law, so she hadn't been friends with her. And Harry told all their business in this book called Spare, where the world learned the word Todger for the first time. So their story has really been up and down, and some say it's because she wouldn't take the advice or leadership from other royals within the family. But if she didn't want to listen to people in the family, she could have listened to another young woman. What woman, you may ask? Well, meet Emma Claire McQuestion. The world knows her as Emma Weymouth, and she is the first Black Marchioness in British history. Now, in England, a Marchioness is married to a Marquis, and that's a man who is very wealthy, who's very high standing in society, and so she married well. But before we get into that, let's back up and go back to her childhood, kind of look at her life. Even as a child, she was a wealthy young girl. Her father was Chief Lade Jadisami. He is a Nigerian billionaire and the executive chairman of the Lagos Deep Offshore Logistics Company. And this is him walking her down the aisle. Her mother's name is Suzanne McQuestion, and she was an English socialite. So even though they weren't married, in fact, word is that he was married allegedly, they still did a good job raising Emma. So she was raised in South Kensington, and she attended Queensgate School. Some of the most famous people in the world actually attended Queensgate. Queen Camilla. So Queen Camilla, married to the King of England, attended that school. Chef Nigella Lawson. I know y'all have heard of her. She's the famous foodie. And even actress Lynn Redgrave attended Queensgate School. So she attended a great school. She also went to the University College of London, and she studied art history. And after college, she studied at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. She was trying to pursue a career of becoming or kind of like a televised chef. So she wanted to be a influencer. She's a younger woman, as you can tell. So she wanted to do a lot with her life, and boy, did she ever. Let's get into how she met her husband. Meet Ciaran 10. He is the eighth Marquess of Bath. Now, his father was the seventh Marquess. They call him Lord Bath. And his mother is named Anna Gale. And even though they had been married a real long time, Lord Bath, he kept 30 plus other women, some even on their grand estate. He called them wifelets. Now, this is their grand estate. It's called Lonely, and it's 10,000 acres. And it's actually one of the only privately owned safaris outside of Africa. And they have every animal imaginable. I mean, look at this. So, as you can see, The family was a bit eccentric, and this is what Emma married into. And after Lord Bath's death, actually took over. Now, a little tea on the marriage. Lady Bath did not like Emma, and it was said it was because of her race. I mean, can you imagine? Emma stepped into a world of nothing but vanilla. And here she is, that little drop in all of that. But you know what? That did not stop the love between these two. You see, the first time she ever met him, she was only 4 years old. He was a young kid too, and she was a bridesmaid at a wedding of her half brother. So she grew up around him. She saw him quite often. The family actually used to go over quite often to Longley for all kinds of events and activities. But in 2011, things they changed in their relationship. And so it was during a meeting at Soho House that in London also was a it's a members only club, and they met there and something changed. They felt differently about one another and they started dating. And it didn't take long for them to get married because in 2012 is when they made their announcement of being engaged. Now look at this girl. She is beautiful, and I'm sure he is very happy. But the people were not. The family was not. The mama was not. The dad, he had a black girlfriend too. So he really didn't feel one way or the other. But he was angry at his son because his son wanted him to move some very inappropriate pictures from his estate before they she would move in and get married and all that. So it was some drama in the city, and because of all this drama, people, they really didn't care for her, and she would purposely dress scantily and kind of press their buttons. But she was doing it because she was showing her own independence, despite them being racist toward her. Now, I'm sure her husband was happy, but they were not. So, all this drama happening around their wedding, and it was not ideal for them because, they wanted their entire family to be there. And although her mother and father, Emma's mother and father, came to the wedding, unfortunately, unfortunately, the Marquise's family did not. Neither his mother nor his father attended their wedding. And the sad part is the father and him made up, but the mother never did. And they never got to see their grandchildren. She didn't go to the wedding. She was completely out of their life, all behind race, which is really sad. And that's what I'm saying about Megan. Megan should have stood on her square just like this girl Emma did. Emma wore what she wanted to, did what she wanted to, and she kept her man. And she still is with her man today. And now the kids are older. I mean, it's so much she could have had and could have learned from this young woman. So anyway, they didn't want to show up to the wedding, which was no problem with them. The wedding still went on. A beautiful dress she's wearing here is designed by Angela Colarusi. They were married on their estate in Wilshire, Longleat Estate, with 355 guests in attendance. After becoming a Marchioness, her life has been splendid. Now, first of all, she and her husband, they are the keepers of their estate now because the mother and father has passed away. So it's open to the public. They do yearly exhibits and tours. So that is very, very exciting. She also is the founder. She founded a business. It's called Emma's Kitchen, and it's a food and lifestyle brand. In 2018, she became a fashion editor for British Vogue, and she is a contributing editor to the Huffington Post. So her life has definitely been exciting. But the most exciting part, I bet she would say, is the birth of her children. So their first child, his name is John Alexander, and in that suite they gave him her father's name, one of his names. So that's really great. And he is the Viscount of Weymouth too, Weymouth also, and he was born in London in 2014. Now, after her she had her first son, she did have some difficulties with her next pregnancy. So they chose to go the route of a surrogate. And from there, Lord Henry Richard Isaac was born in LA in 2016. Which brings me back to Megan again and talk right now of surrogacy and all of that. She could have learned so much from the Marchioness. She faced difficulty with pregnancy, racism, but yet look at her today. She is a beautiful woman doing a beautiful job for her family and representing the family so well. And all of those who didn't want her to be married, they're gone now. And particularly for the mother, she didn't even get to meet her grandchildren. What an amazing story, an awesome woman. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to bring you somebody new, somebody fresh, and perhaps you've never heard of. And I kind of wanted to show you that not all African American women who marry royals end up the same way some other things have ended up. Now, today's episode has been for educational and entertainment purposes only, and my sources have been W Magazine, The Times, BBC, and Huffington Post. Now, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and please leave a comment. I love hearing from you. I can't thank you enough for watching me. I'll see you on another great episode of Royal Black and Elite.